All right, I haven't got time to mark this motherfucker. Here we go again. We can't hear anybody. Nobody can talk to anybody.
You guessed it, Pressure Points, your two favorite hosts. I'm D, and this is White Chocolate AJ. We're coming at you with Season 5, Episode 3, Franks Come Down. We're finishing up our 1950s scandal. So strap in and get ready for it. Find us on Instagram and Twitter at PointsOPressure. Get ready, cutie pies.
Well, turn the fucking thing off, you dumbass.
Did you say strap in or strap on?
Always, both. One or two and /or.
Perfect.
Hot. Welcome back.
I got a macadamia nut in my throat.
It's been 30 minutes or a week. It depends on when you're listening. Yeah. Round 2. Who would have thought a two-parter? For episode 2 and 3?
And nothing's happened.
Yeah.
This last week.
Yeah. We didn't record these back-to-back. I
would like to point out that we need to be awake in roughly 6.5 hours.
And you still have to make tuna salad.
Fuck you.
You told me to remind you.
You have to go buy a loaf of bread.
Nah.
Do you already have one?
Nah. We'll just bring crackers.
No. Buy a loaf of bread. Multi-grain.
We'll see.
Or whole grain, not multi-grain. Whole grain.
See.
Stone ground only.
Whole Foods isn't going to be open that early on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, you son of a bitch.
Go to Smith's.
For multi-grain? What are you, multi-grain nuts? That was a bad joke.
That was awful.
All right,
okay, so
it's late, man.
We'll do a really quick recap. I'll do it. Frank Olson, really smart chemist.
Yeah.
Works for the CIA.
Shitty guy.
Totally willing to put his ethics aside.
For the family.
But he's also getting really stressed about it. I think last we left off, he was at a CIA retreat.
Yes, he was visiting an ICA retreat.
And he drank something naughty.
A coworker, Morgan Hall, handed him a nice, tall Long Island iced tea. And he gave it a little sippy.
And he starts tripping balls about an hour later.
He's getting a little trippy. Homeboy is getting kind of fucked up on LSD, he notices. So, where are we at, AJ?
So I'm not going to talk about Frank Olson at all.
Yeah, it's okay.
Now we'll come back to him. So I already did that part in the notes. I got to scroll up. So we're going to talk about Sidney Gottlieb for a moment. We talked about him a lot in the last time.
Also at the retreat?
Yeah, it just so happens. And so in about 1954, really early on in the year, Sidney is officially put in charge of an operation. And should I say what it's called, or should I build suspense?
I don't know. It sounds ultra confusing.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Okay, so Sidney, early 1954. We last left Frank in late 1953.
Yeah, November 18th, 1953.
Something like that, yeah. So he's given this placement. He's basically, you are now in charge of Operation Midnight Climax.
Good old Sidney.
Which happens to be a sub-project, I think the 42nd sub-project of MK Ultra.
Hot.
Super hot.
I want to meet and shake hands. Actually, I don't want to do this. With the man that came up with Operation Midnight Climax. And just, he knew what he was doing.
I'll tell you who
but
did
he
it.
didn't know what he was doing.
He knew what he was doing. So Sidney said, oh, I know this guy. He's been working for me and, for us for a while. I'm going to kind of place the control of the operations to this guy named George Hunter White.
Okay.
So before we talk about the goals and Midnight Climax, we're going to talk about George Hunter White, because he plays a pivotal, fuck's sake, it's late, a pivotal role in this. So he's a Federal Bureau of Narcotics agent.
Uh-huh.
Basically, he did undercover work on in multiple countries. Basically, he infiltrated the mob and different drug growing groups.
He sounds familiar.
And he spent a lot of time basically getting in and then, he would do drug busts.
Yeah. Busting heads, taking
Busting
names.
heads, busting boys.
George W. White?
George Hunter White.
George H.
White. My favorite anecdote about this man is that in a diner once, he shot his initials into the ceiling.
Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, I wish.
No.
Yeah, he did. So this dude...
God.
Trying to decide where I want to go with him first.
Imagine going in like the 90s into that place and you see GHW and you're like, what the fuck was George H.W. Bush doing in here, man?
That
what was
cowboy
H.W.
fuck.
doing, crazy bastard?
So this dude, he was an FBN agent. He had a special contract with the CIA. He was kind of like a field agent, but not 100% their bitch.
In and out.
Yeah. He was a captain in the army. He worked for the OSS back during World War II. And I'm not really sure what else he was doing, but he had his hand in a lot of pies. If he sounds at all familiar, during this time period, he went by the alias of Morgan Hall. Huh, interesting.
So we've made the connection.
So by day, he would work to keep drugs off the street. By night,
He would put them on.
he would, like, even before this happened, like in the earlier 50s, he would just drug somebody and then document it
Just a little poke
on his own.
Yeah.
And then he would also, I assume he's working for the CIA when he's doing this. He would drug CIA agents unknowingly and talk to them and try to get them to spill the beans to talk about secrets.
So would he spike their drinks?
Sometimes.
Se?
Yeah, however he could. And he wouldn't always use LSD. Sometimes he'd use coke. Sometimes he'd use like concentrated THC. Like he tried basically every drug on himself and to other CIA agents. He was also a raging alcoholic, but that was
you gotta cope with your shitty self somehow.
Oh yeah.
I guess.
So for years he was doing this, where he would just document it, send it away to Sydney or Ira.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense.
And he would assess people who were risks. He would assess just anybody. If you were in the area, he basically would do this for fun.
God damn.
And
so he's like a 1950s version of you, with access to drugs.
Yeah, I don't have access to drugs, so
No, not at all.
no. I mean, no. So interesting, awful person. One time in 1950, he drugged a New York subway car
What?
with, I think it was aerosolized LSD. And then he did it again in 1952, just to see what would happen.
God, dude.
Like, obviously, he's probably working under somebody in the CIA, because that's where he's getting his supplies. But he was basically like, hey, I have this idea. I'm going to spray down this subway car with acid, and somebody in the CIA would say, okay, yeah, here you go.
God, dude.
Here's your expenditures. Here's your booze money.
Can you fucking imagine how terrible that would be? Like, it's 1950s New York.
Ugh.
Like, it's not clean. It's not, I mean, New York isn't clean now, but
it's
not.
cleaner.
This isn't like 1980s peak Wall Street New York. This is fucking scummy post World War II shithole New York City.
Yeah.
Bad news, man.
And then suddenly you're on LSD.
You're on LSD and you're going to your dumpy ass day job of, I don't know what the fuck they did in the 50s. Shitty jobs. I don't know.
Worked at the dry cleaners.
At the deli, getting screamed at while you're making a salami sub.
An Italian sub.
Fuck, that would suck.
Making a deep dish pizza. I think. I don't know.
So, not deep dish, not New York. What are you doing? You fucking sicko.
I don't know. You're a psychopath.
Get out.
Okay.
Get the fuck out of here. Okay, now that he's gone, we've got the room to ourselves.
I'm here to save you. So yeah, he operated a CIA safe house in New York, which comes into play a little bit later.
A safe house.
Yes. agents.
I would never in my life put George Hunter White over a safe house for anyone, whether they were coworkers or not.
Well, yeah, not at all. So this dude, apparently in New York, basically in any large city, there were dozens of safe houses. Because they would basically, if you were being like if the KGB was trying to get you, they would shuttle you between safe houses. If you needed to go undercover for something, you got a safe house. Like,
Okay, so that's really similar to what any police station is doing currently.
Maybe
Just shuttling people between locations when they
between
get in trouble.
shitty houses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
shifting them to another place.
Once you murder somebody, you just get hired somewhere else with a pay raise.
Sounds like you might serve better in Montana.
Yeah, where they don't have the internet.
Yeah. Jesus.
So then, let's see, what else would he do? So he would go to parties and just randomly spike glasses with LSD. And then he would
He
just
comes
sit
in
back.
with air horns, but they're not blasting just sound. He's just spitting
you in the face. LDS.
LDSD, yeah, LSD everywhere. God damn it, it's so fucking late.
It's so late. So his biggest thing was he would just try to get people to reveal sensitive information. So you're at a party, you start tripping out, and then this dude comes out of nowhere and is like, "Where do you live?" Are you
What's
married?
your take on the Communist Party of the Soviet Union?
He cared so little about that. Let's
He
see.
just wanted to get to know everyone.
He was a star for sexual blackmail.
Belle of the ball.
He would drug people, film them having sex, and then blackmail them if they were upstanding citizens.
Okay, I take back the good things that I said about
Thank
George Hunter White.
So his personal documents, his personal notes were destroyed in 1973. Because of course they were.
I wonder why.
So let's talk about Midnight Climax and his hand in it.
So what
you
is this
hire a deprived sociopath. You give him the bottomless bank account that is the CIA budget.
God,
What do you think
blank
happens?
fucking check.
He starts
So-
converting safe houses. And he's getting new furniture. He's hanging up velvet drapes.
Ooh.
He's buying porn
Oh.
and hanging it on the walls. His safe house ends up being 2 apartments, and then he puts a secret door between them, and then he turns all the mirrors into one-way mirrors.
You know what I
From his
imagine he
apartment.
looks like? And you're going to hate me for saying this, but this is how I'm picturing him, is the Noid with a neck beard.
I wish. Look him up.
George W. I feel like I'm just going to get a fucking...
George Hunter White.
I feel like I'm just going to get a poorly drawn picture of him. That's
You're going to...
George
He looks
Hunter.
like if we merged and were born in the 1910s. And shaved.
And balding. He looks like a...
He looks like Khrushchev a little bit.
I was going to say he looks like an American Gorbachev.
Yeah, that's it. That's oh, that's amazing. I'm choking on a nut.
Oh, he really does.
He really does. He does not look like he would fit this role.
He looks like just the scummy, fat New York cop
Yeah, he's
in
just,
every
he's kind of dumpy.
every movie with bad cops.
Dumpy, balding, round
He's
face.
gross, dude.
Yeah.
Like he looks like us. I hate it.
I know.
Looks like us in fucking 30 years.
Me in 30 years, you in 20 years.
fuck you.
No. Come on, you knew I was going to... You set me up for that.
I know.
So, yeah, this is sub-project of MK Ultra with the best name, Midnight Climax. So, yeah, he converted these safe houses into these
Little jerk-off rooms.
little dens, these velvety, dreamy dens.
There's always a box of saltines in the corner, just in case there were a group of you.
just in case. And apparently his
Operation Cum Cracker.
Oh, yes, exactly. No, he buys Chips Ahoy. It's a cum cookie.
Fritos.
Oh. So he basically converted these into small brothels.
Oh, little CIA houses?
Yeah,
What?
all the safe houses were converted. It cost thousands of dollars. His
I'm sure.
alcohol budget was thousands of dollars because he would buy the good shit and then drink it himself, then buy bottom dollar shit for the operation. This dude,
Right bolt off.
yeah.
Jesus.
So yeah, secret doors, one-way mirrors, and this was across San Francisco, Mill Valley, California, and New York.
Okay, wait, pause.
Okay.
We're going to address this because you said we were going to address this. Is it a one-way or a two-way mirror?
It's a one-way mirror because you can only look through it one way. Don't Google it.
I'm looking up.
Do not
I'm
Google
looking
it.
up two-way mirror.
Because a two-way mirror, that would be a window. Because you can see through it two ways.
Two-way mirror. Images.
It's a window.
Fuck. How the fuck am I supposed to tell which way
It's a white screen.
this is facing? It's just like a fucking
a drawing.
a silver, shimmery, like 12 by 12 inch frameless square flush mount bathroom vanity mirror.
And is this a one-way or two-way?
It just says mirror.
Oh, helpful.
Say, yeah.
So yeah, it's
you.
one way because you look through it one way.
Okay, so a two-way mirror would be a window.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
I'm glad we settled
I'm
that.
still looking it up.
No, you're not. Fuck
Yeah.
you.
No, I spelled mirror with too many R's.
Ah. Well,
Two-way
I'm not going to move on until we settle this.
I know, I'm looking up the definition. A two-way mirror, according to dictionary.com. Actually, according to Oxford. Is a
Oxford
panel,
shit. That's
I don't know what it says yet, so I'm not.
That's unreputable.
A panel of glass that can be seen through one side, but as a mirror on the other.
A
Two-way
one-way mirror. Now look up one-way mirror. Look it up.
Okay. One-way
We were
mirror
arguing about this
definition.
earlier.
A one-way mirror, also called a two-way mirror. So it's the same. What the right?
What the fuck? A one-way mirror, also called a two-way
Yeah, it
mirror.
is.
That's
Yeah.
the most... That is some bullshit.
Merriam-Webster and Oxford have some things to work out because Merriam-Webster says it's a mirror on one side, but can be seen through like a window from the other side.
Yeah, a one-way mirror.
Yeah, and a two-way. Apparently.
I was right.
We were right.
I was right.
This is communism. We.
I was right. All right. So he set up these little fuck shacks.
God, yeah. Like, so he's taken these houses. I know I've derailed you quite a bit.
Oh yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
So he's taken the houses, he's turned them into fuck shacks, and he's got a bunch of sneaky mirrors in there.
Yeah. And then he goes out on the prowl.
God, this is so hot. Weird. What
He
the fuck?
approaches a bunch of sex workers
Okay.
and says, "Hey, if you work for me, I'm not a pimp. If you work for me, I will pay you $100 a night," which during the 50s is pretty good. "And I'll protect you from the police. They won't hassle you.
Yeah, I mean, he's
you'll be
got his
working under me.
connections.
And your job is to lure people in. You can charge them your normal rate on top of the $100 if you want to. Like, what a good deal. But you need to lure people in all night to this location.
Damn.
You're going to
Just
spike their
anybody.
drink with LSD. Anybody.
Oh.
You're going to spike their drink with LSD.
Okay. Done.
And then you're going to start sleeping with them.
Done that.
You're going to fuck them.
Wait, no, I haven't done that. Sorry. I
You
I
definitely did that.
apologize. That was in very poor taste. My bad.
And then you're going to interrogate them about secrets that they may have.
Oh, dude.
You're going to ask them about if they've ever committed a crime.
Ew.
If they've ever robbed anyone.
Why is he such a scummy
If they've ever
fuck?
stolen money. Or
You know that
committed
George was
fraud.
just fucking pumping it out on the other side.
Hold
of these
on, just
mirrors.
wait. So, that's a good deal for a sex worker in the 50s. Like, that's a great
It really
deal.
is. I mean, you're protected.
You're protected. You're in a safe place.
Yeah.
Like, you know somebody's there.
Yeah,
at
you know
least.
that
Like,
somebody's watching. You're not going to get, like, fucking murdered.
Yeah, and because that would cut into the data.
George would come in and kill both of you.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
You know, if you die, your perpetrator's going to die too.
Yeah, so then he would document the whole thing. Apparently, in some of the houses, the mirror, because like the apartments themselves were mirrored to each other, the mirror that he was looking at was basically the mirror in the bathroom. So he would sit on the toilet, drink, and watch them have sex.
God.
And then he would document it.
Midnight Climax.
And if they are, upstanding citizens who have a reputation to protect, he would sometimes blackmail them.
Well, yeah.
He would...
As is tradition.
Yeah. That's just what you do. That was the bulk of what they did.
God damn.
Was that every night
This conniving little rat fuck.
For, almost 10 years.
What?
10 years.
Did George have like a family? Do we know?
I have no idea. I can't find
Probably
jack
not.
shit on him.
I bet he didn't.
I doubt.
He feels a little too sneaky and slimy to have a family.
Yeah. So
he's like, I can't settle down. I got 700 people to watch fuck tonight.
So
Who needs a porn addiction when you've got a live sex addiction?
Over time, well,
through proxy.
sometimes he would invite other CIA agents to watch.
Of course he did.
Of course.
So it wasn't Operation Midnight Watch.
It was Operation Free Pornography.
It was Operation CIA Midnight Climaxes.
Yeah. It was Operation CIA Cum Cracker.
Yeah. Operation CIA We Gon' Climax.
Mm-hmm. So it kind of evolved over the 10 years.
Uh-huh.
It started off as like, okay, when trying to figure out when's the best time to interrogate somebody. Okay, and then they figured out, the best time
when
is...
they're balls deep in a sex worker.
No, it's they discovered that it was actually right after sex. Like, he fucking peels off of you. He's on acid.
Tripping.
He's also probably drunk.
Yeah.
And
he's,
that's when you interrogate
got fucking
them.
post-nut clarity. Like, that brain is free and ready to roam.
Yeah, so they would basically interrogate him and figure shit out. And they would try to, like, substantiate some of them. But, of course, if somebody admitted to committing a crime or a robbery or whatever, they, of course, wouldn't report it to the police. That's ridiculous.
I know. Why?
Yeah, they would just write in a report, send it off to Sid.
Jesus Christ.
And Sid was totally fine with this.
I'm sure.
He was like,
He's
yeah.
He's in the CIA.
You're
in the
getting
50s.
data.
He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly. They did a couple other things kind of on the side.
He's just rolling in government stipends.
They were tasked with finding what the best drug would be to spike an entire building and create a mass of confusion, fear, and anxiety all at once.
Fungus bread.
That's what I say. But they practiced, releasing aerosolized things through air vents to see if it could make it through the entire building. Like,
God damn, dude.
like, they were totally okay with this. They also studied the effect of keeping people in almost complete isolation with minimal food and water while intermittently dosing them with LSD, just to see what would happen.
I wonder what might happen. Did they ever find out?
Oh, I'm sure they
We
did.
have results?
We have results. They happened to be burned in 1973.
Yeah, God.
So they
It sucks because
I say they.
It sucks
He.
because I'm also really fucking intrigued.
Yeah, like, I'm curious as to
Like,
what
I
those
want to
results
know
are.
what they found.
Well, yeah,
out.
it's like the twin experiments with Mengele are fucking horrible and disgusting. But, like, those results are kind of interesting.
Yeah. It's like,
Like,
I
you
at
can
least
have
just
both.
want to see what I don't want to say what came out of it because I have a feeling that
I think you
it
know.
involves George. But it's just
They called him Old Cummy George.
George hunting for Puss White.
George hunting for white puss.
Yeah. Oh God.
Come on, 50s CIA.
George Hunter, Pussy Hunter White. Oh, that's what it was.
Ugh.
Ew, I don't like George.
Nah, well,
I don't like any of them. They're all hateable.
You want to know what's
fucking
even fucking
characters.
worse?
What?
There's also some evidence that they would randomly dose handicapped children to see what would happen, to see how that would, like, affect them. This dude was a sociopath.
You don't say.
He would do this for fun, separate from this.
I feel like he's okay. I feel like in the 50s, they got a bunch of people in there that were just bad scientists. Like
He's not a scientist.
no,
He didn't go to school for science.
I know that. I'm saying like people that they're basically all just YouTube pranksters. They're like, hey, what would happen
Scum
if
of the
I
earth.
fucking punched this homeless man in the face? And Sidney Gottlieb goes, I don't know, go for it.
Do it.
Here's $10 million. Do it. I dare you, George, you bitch. And George does it 100,000 times
Yeah.
and gives him results. And it's like, that's not what this is. Mm-hmm. That's not what should happen, George.
Yeah, this was really fucked up.
It's just like, hey, what would happen if we gave this disabled kid LSD? It's like a bunch of fucking idiot frat boys.
Mm-hmm. That's actually
hate it.
way more
I
accurate
hate it.
to the FBI during that time, or the CIA during that
Frat
time.
boys working on Associate of Science degrees.
Yeah, dropout
Yeah.
from the Associate of Science.
Dude.
Let's see, what else? So pretty soon, George got bored of watching these people just have sex.
Oh, of course he did.
So he would...
It's gotten too repetitive for him. He knows it's because he's already found his results. He just isn't. He doesn't want to show the results yet. He doesn't
wants to
want
keep
be
the party
done with
going.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, so he starts walking to restaurants and dosing people's food. And then just sitting at the bar with a sheet of paper, like a little notebook, and waits.
Can you imagine? You're just having a slice of pizza and some dude sits down next to you. He walks past.
Puts a little dropper by your food.
He
He's like,
walks.
what in the world
walks
is that
past,
thing?
Look in the sky. You look up and you just hear bloop, and you're like, what the fuck? And he walks
Did he
past
just
5
pee?
feet. You're still looking at him. He turns around and walks and sits down at the
He
table
folds
next
a
to
note
you.
paper out,
and just
staring
loudly.
at you with a pencil.
And then he just looks. This bald fucking
Greasy fuck.
God.
But yeah, he would go to restaurants, just dose people's food, see what would happen.
And you're like, what? This pizza is melting my hand.
He started going to bars
Ah.
and just dosing drinks. The second anybody would turn away,
Dude,
just to see.
this guy had like a better shot than Michael Jordan. He's just fucking shooting doses across the room.
Oh yeah, this guy, he was really good at spiking people's drinks.
God
Which is
damn.
not something you want to be good at.
So I don't know if you guys knew this. We're talking about Bill Cosby on our episode today. The Bill Cosby of the 1950s.
He probably learned from this guy.
God, really?
My favorite thing, I shouldn't say it like that.
No,
The
you
most
shouldn't.
interesting thing, I think, during this time period is that he started going to beaches. And originally he was like dosing people, but then he realized, who the fuck has an open, unattended cup on a beach? It's going to
Everyone.
get sand in it. Nobody has it. It's gross. It's going to get sand in it. So he just started asking people, hey, you guys want to do acid? You guys want to drop acid?
Of course.
You guys
he
want to
did.
do some LSD? And he did this for years. And
What are people gonna do? Report him to the police? And he goes, federal agent.
yeah, exactly.
Fuck.
So some people actually attribute his dosing when he was in San Francisco to creating the psychedelic counterculture social scene
Damn.
in the early
dude.
60s.
It doesn't surprise me.
Because he dosed so many people. He had so many doses at his disposal. There was even some guy who was confirmed to be in one of these experiments. Well, as far as we can trust him. Hasn't given any reason for us not to. But basically, he was like, yeah, I was on the beach one night, and this old, bald fuck said, you want to do some acid? And I said, yeah. And then I did acid, and then, like, a couple months later, kind of that psychedelic 60s counterculture thing sprung up, and he was for it. He was like, yeah,
It's like,
now
dude,
I can
had
do
a
acid
fucking
again.
blast.
Let's do it
Yeah.
again. Like,
People
so
have access to it. I was reading earlier, and I talked to
I got
AJ
nut all
about
over my
this.
pants.
Oh, hot. Okay, George. Is it only yours? Or is it another CIA operatives? I was telling AJ earlier that at one point the manufacturer and basically designer, as weird as it sounds, of LSD, and I think it was Sweden,
yeah, I think so.
that the U.S. or the CIA had reached out to them and said, we're going to buy your product. Like, we're buying all of your LSD.
All
and they
of
were
it.
like, how much? And they said everything. And they bought off the entire stock.
Of an entire pharmaceutical company.
Yeah, of their LSD. It's just like
this is how many doses,
fuck.
how many people were affected by this.
That's like bonkers amounts of LSD, man.
Yeah, imagine it's the early 1960s. Because this thing
Fucking
went on until like
mint.
64, I think. 63, and near the end of 63. Early 1960s, someone comes up to you and says, hey, you want some free acid? You guys can have sex if you want.
You want to dip your toes in the paper
Hell
of the
yeah.
devil?
Who would say no?
Fuck yeah, I do.
Put it in my eye. Put the dropper in my eye.
Put it at the tip of my penis. I don't go, fuck,
Yeah.
let's do this.
Boof it. Boof me, bitch.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, these experiments went on. Thousands of people were dosed. Thousands. Not hundreds. Thousands.
Hundreds
of
of thousands.
Not quite.
Not that many.
But thousands of people
Damn.
were dosed. And then in 1963, this dude named John Vance, he was on the staff for the CIA Inspector General. He learned about the program and he kind of looked into it a little bit. Very telling that the CIA Inspector General staff was not aware of this program.
Of course. No, what?
But they learned about the frivolous disregard for consent, which, that's not the biggest deal. But the fact that they were drugging them without the consent, John Vance said, shut it down. You're done with this sub-project.
What a guy.
The people at the top of MK Ultra said, no, this is imperative. Like, they're doing good work.
Did you just say the word?
What?
The M word?
MK Ultra?
You piece of shit.
I said it already earlier this episode.
Give me shit. I thought we were going to avoid this together. It's not
we
an
are.
MK Ultra episode. Get
No,
the fuck out
it's
of
a
here.
Midnight Climax
Yeah,
episode.
it's an MC.
Well, every episode
it's an
for me is
Ultra
an
MC
Yeah.
episode.
So, and then John Vance said, let me look at your finances. You're like, how much do you spend on liquor
Fucking what?
and prostitutes?
You what?
Sex workers, sorry.
George,
Habit.
you need to change your name again right now.
Yeah. So they shut it down. Which, if they were
So they renamed it.
getting good data, do you think they shut it down? Also, do you think George Hunter White would just stop? If he was just doing this on the side, you think he would just stop because some dude said stop it?
He just changed his
Fuck
name
no.
to Hunter Washington and moved on.
Fuck. Yeah, exactly.
Can you imagine?
Oh my
I'm
God.
right about that when we trace his fucking line.
Oh
I'll be
my
like,
God.
oh shit,
Oh,
it was a joke.
No, but like, they obviously kept doing a lot of these things.
Oh,
Like,
of
like
course.
we know that they were doing this Midnight Climax stuff before it officially started in early 54.
Yeah.
I'm sure it continued until somebody said, I'm not paying for your booze anymore, George.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure he just did it on his own.
Obviously, if George can do this for 10 years like he did, he's going to find a way to fucking do it again.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back to Frank.
Yeah, now that there's some
Yeah.
some
Now you
context
guys
into what's
kinda
going
know-
on in the wider world.
Yeah. And so that you guys are aware, Frank is also pretty damn aware that a lot of this shit is going on, right?
Oh, yeah, he's the chemist. Of
Yeah.
course he knows.
Yeah, I mean, the dude,
Where do you think they get the drugs?
he has such a fucking long history working in the CIA. And I mean, he's worked upper echelon CIA for a while that, I mean, it's bound to fucking happen, right?
Oh, fuck. I wasn't ready. I just put a nut in my
It's
mouth.
time for your favorite Monday morning game show, D's Dating Do's and Don'ts, where we find out if your concept of relationships is a tick too far on the misogynistic side. Welcome to the stage, AJ, a wannabe totalitarian from a very far-right Christian community. Let's get started. It's D's Dating Do's and Don'ts.
AJ, welcome back. Question number 1 again. Your best friend and recently confirmed pastor, Sebastian, begins detailing his most recent run-in with the town working girl, Robin. Do you, A, cut him off and inform him that's personal and it's not his business to share. B, keep your little baby mouth quiet and let him finish his story. Or C, try out the new self-applied over-the-pants thing you learned on 4chan during his story.
What was B again?
Sorry.
Fuck.
It looks like you're out of time once again. Can't give you the correct answer because you didn't get one in. Maybe you'll get it next time on D's Dating Do's and Don'ts. So, Frank gets back the day after his retreat from being drugged out of his fucking mind. And he's got his 3 kids. He's got his wife at home. And they're like, "Oh, Dad, how was your trip? How was your retreat and everything? Like, you finally got some R&R." And he's just, like, he's sitting there, pupils as big as fucking dish trays. Like, this dude is fucking out of it. He refuses dinner that night. And he wouldn't say a word about the trip. They just ask and he'd just shake his head. At one point, he just yells to his wife, like not at her, just to her. He just goes, "I've made a terrible mistake." And Frank's on the breaking point, man.
Damn, it only took him 1 hit of acid.
Yeah, really.
And, years of breaking down.
Dude, God, poor guy. But at the same time, fuck you, Frank.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets back to work a couple days later. And I mean, he's still in just bad shape. Homeboy is not handling this well. And he goes to his boss, Ruitt, who was at the retreat. And he basically says, "Hey, should I be fired or should I quit? Because these are my only options with what's happened. Like, I'm now the subject of a CIA investigation and fucking operation. What's a girl to do?" Mm-hmm. And Ruitt says, "Look, man, take it easy," calms him down, and he says, "Just head out for the day. Come back tomorrow, we'll figure things out." So he comes back the next day, even more of a fucking wreck than he was before. And he's starting to he's starting to actually see the effects of what the fuck is going on. Like, he's mumbling to himself. He's saying, "Oh, I just feel so mixed up. I feel like I'm incompetent in my position." Like, he's having imposter syndrome. Like, this dude Frank is full on lost it at this point, because he knows the end game of subjects in CIA operations. Mm-hmm. So he gets sent home early with a man by the name of John Stubbs. John was also at the retreat, and when Frank shows up at home, his wife says, "Who's this guy with you? Why are you home at noon? This is not normal, Frank." And he says,
as the pool boy runs.
Yeah, right. So Frank says, "Look, this guy's here just because the CIA is afraid I'm having a psychotic break and that I might hurt you guys." And so wife and kids are like, "Yeah, okay, we'll hold our distance for a little bit." And he also lets them know, "Look, I'm going in for like a psychiatric treatment and evaluation in New York in the next couple of days, so bear with me.
This is
I'll
bound
be back.
to be
Everything
well.
will be okay." So he flies out to New York City with Ruitt, his boss. And there are a couple other CIA doctors that join, which, based on their track record, sounds like a great time. And Frank's out there for a few days. His son was interviewed years after, and his son says he remembers his dad, Eric. So Eric remembers his dad leaving for this trip, kind of coming off as like hopeful, like things are going to be okay. We're going to get through this, but still just like fucking, I'm done, stressed. My ulcers are just the size of a fucking football field. And he said that, the night of November 27th, at about 8 p.m., Eric's mom, Frank's wife, gets a call from Frank, and Frank sounds hopeful. He says, look, we've had our meetings. I've gone through my psych stuff, and I really think that, like, I think I'm getting there. I think I'm good. I think that we've worked things out. It's great. And then at 2 a.m. on November 28th, Frank commits suicide at the Statler Hilton Hotel. He jumped out of his window and landed on the ground, didn't die on impact, right?
Oh, of course not.
So the night manager runs out after this guy slams onto the cement, and Olson is just like, with his last dying breath, trying to mumble something to this night manager, and the night manager's like, I can't understand you.
He's mocking him. He's
fuck you. And so he's getting like, somebody called 911, like, get
Call
people
a ambulance.
here. Yeah. And excuse me, the police get there and everything, and the night manager said, in all my years in the hotel business, I have never encountered a case where someone got up in the middle of the night, ran across a dark room in his underwear, avoiding 2 beds, and dove through a closed window with the shade and the curtains drawn.
Poor Frank.
Yeah.
He will kind of be missed.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, he was coming around. Probably would have whistle blown, you know.
Yeah.
Might have exposed some shit.
That would have been nice.
Might have given some closure.
That would have been
clarification to what was actually going
nice.
on. A guy that had his hands in the pot and decided now was a good time to come clean and couldn't handle
take
it. Couldn't
Yeah.
hack it.
So now we're going to talk about Colin Ross, a psychiatrist who was looking. I don't know a lot about the story behind this one. This is just something that I found that I thought was really interesting. But apparently they were looking through some CIA documents and they found a memo that kind of implied that there was more to Operation Midnight Climax than than it seemed to be. Which to me makes sense. Like, why would you, in one of these, these auditable, operations, say exactly, like, put your cards all out? What if there was a mole?
Yeah.
What if there was, what if you get compromised? What if the auditing, the inspector general is compromised or something like that, So to me it makes sense. But basically they claim that they found that evidence that the CIA was actually testing the performance of the sex workers.
Oh.
Not the Johns.
Huh.
They were potentially, allegedly, here we go.
God.
They were purposely being put under conditions that mimicked field operations, where they had to... They were basically testing sex workers to see if they could become female agents.
Yeah, if they could be recruited.
Yeah, to see if they were recruitable, to see if they had the guts to do it and the fortitude to do that shit.
Fortitude to pull through.
So basically, the
damn.
Johns were given LSD as a cover
Yeah.
for the testing to basically see if they can get female Manchurian candidates.
To test women to see if they can actually fucking, like, pull it off and do it as a regular thing.
Yeah.
God damn,
So
dude.
what's a great mission for a female agent during this time period? Go have sex go seduce some foreign diplomat,
Yeah.
and then, when's the best time to fucking honeypotting them? When's the best time to get information out of somebody?
Yeah.
Right after you had sex with them when they're on LSD.
Yeah.
So you spike them, have sex with them. Right as the LSD starts hitting, you extract the information, get the hell out of there.
Yeah. Boom.
They probably won't even remember it. If they do, they won't be able to trust their own memory.
Yeah.
Because of the
they know
LSD.
that they were fucking cooked.
So
Damn.
the recruitment of the sex workers, that's another like layer of cover for testing of, Manchurian candidate type, people.
Jesus.
And that it's just a theory, but I think that makes a lot of sense.
It really does. I mean,
that they were, and think of where we came from to get to here.
yeah. I mean,
Operation
ethics,
Artichoke was about getting people to commit assassinations.
Yeah.
Manchurian Candidate style. MK Ultra
Jesus.
and these sub-programs come out and they say, "Oh, it's just hypnosis. It's just it's mind control. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do mind control." I think they're trying to go a step further than that. I think they're just trying to get, heartless. It's what the military always is, trying to get a super soldier for their role.
Weaponizing a human being
Yeah, exactly.
to the
And
utmost
you know what?
degree.
It's horrible. It's 1950s. So, sex work is even more criminalized than it is today and more looked down upon. Who else would be a great agent who's not going to blab
Yeah.
than a sex worker? Because then you can just say,
Jesus.
all the sexual blackmail that they were doing with the Johns, they could do 10 times as much with the sex workers themselves. They could just go to the police and say, "We're not protecting her anymore. Gone. You're out."
That's just like it's uncanny how fucking like sneaky, clever, unethical, fucking awful and smart that shit is.
It is. So, I'm not saying 100% that's what was happening, but they would have had to be stupid to not at least consider it.
Yeah.
And then I found when George Hunter White, the last time I'll talk about this asshole, when he retired, he wrote a letter to Gottlieb, which said, and I quote, "I was a very minor missionary, actually a heretic. But I toiled wholeheartedly in the vineyards because it was fun, fun, fun. Where else could a red-blooded American boy lie, kill, cheat, steal, rape, and pillage with the sanction and blessing of the All-Highest?" This was written and documented. I have the source. Let's see. 1992, it was Lee and Schlein in Acid Dreams. I think that's a book. But it was also reported by Michael Krecka in the publication How the U.S. Government Created the Drug Problem in the USA, published in 2001. That guy just so happened to have been shot dead by a San Diego policeman in 2006.
Oh my God.
Just so happens.
Just so
to be
happens.
when he's dragging up old dirt. And keep in mind this happened. This operation, not even this was sub operation 42.
Yeah.
Who knows how many people were impacted by this? And the one quote that I have, I think it's from Sid. I don't remember because I, of course, didn't put it down. But it's no one knows where the human test subjects are now or what effects they may have suffered, because when MK Ultra was brought down, before it was, they burned everything.
And it was in the thousands of people that have been
For
tested.
one. And they destroyed everything.
Man.
White destroyed his personal stuff.
It was all plausible
The CIA
deniability.
destroyed everything. They sent out a memo that said, it would be better if this documentation was destroyed. So it was.
Damn.
Because you can say, oh, it would be better if this didn't exist. But you can't say, burn everything. You can even that is a level of protection.
It would be better for us if this didn't exist.
Exactly.
Damn.
Yeah, so let's talk about Eric.
Okay, so when police got into Frank's room, they discovered Gottlieb's deputy, Lashbrook. And Lashbrook was sitting on the toilet in the shared hotel room that he had with Olson. Now, they looked into it, and a call had been made from that room to a doctor. And they didn't really know where the call went. They just know that it went out to a doc. The operator that connected the call heard the entirety of the call because it was so short. The call was, well, he's gone. The recipient replied, well, that's too bad. And then the call ended. Cops on the scene pointed out how similar this case was with one from about 5 years earlier involving a man who fell to his death in New York City 10 days after he had spoken to the FBI. And this man had been connected with Soviet intelligence.
I also want to point out that this hotel is half a mile away from where George Hunter White was living during this time period.
It's
just a coincidence.
Fucking uncanny.
Coincidence.
Now, Frank's family had always kind of believed that his psychosis and mental state and stress of the job had led to his suicide. But they always felt like something was off about it. Like, they didn't fully accept it. They were like, no, he sounded good when he talked on the phone to Mom before, like, literally 6 hours before.
Mm-hmm.
And so later on in 1975, there was this big release of information from the Rockefeller Commission. Obviously, it's released by the government, so you take that with a grain of salt.
And it was 2 years after the files were destroyed. Mm-hmm. A lot of files were.
So, like I said, you can't fully trust all of the information, but information did get out. And there was info in there that Frank had been dosed with LSD at the retreat in November. So, the family announced, as soon as they found out about it, they announced that they're suing the CIA over wrongful death. And surprisingly enough, the government settled on $1.2 million. Yeah.
Dang.
Great. The only problem was, like, towards the time the family was getting ready to sign the settlement, the government said, actually, we meant $750,000.
Fuckers.
Now, that's $3.8 million now. Still a very
Still
fucking
a lot of
hefty
money,
sum.
but, like, how shit?
And within the settlement papers, the president and the CIA would issue personal apologies to the family.
Yeah, I stumbled across a picture of the
really?
Olson family with Gerald Ford.
Yeah, Gerald Ford was the one that handled it.
was
He issued an apology.
weird.
Head of the CIA did. The family accepted. They saw a $3.8 million check. Well, $750,000.
Yeah,
but they see this fat fucking check that says, "Hey, look, if you leave it alone forever,
Yeah. We're not going to say we did it,
your problems are gone."
but shut up.
Yeah. So, in 1994, Frank's wife passed away, and his son Eric had to have the body exhumed so that they could bury them together, right?
That's actually kind of nice.
Yeah, it's a really sweet gesture.
Yeah.
And so Eric has a body exhumed, and something in his gut is saying, do a second autopsy. So
Well, you got the body. You may as
he
well.
decides now
Grab
is
a hacksaw
fucking,
and get in there.
He decides now's a solid time to perform the second autopsy. And he gets the autopsy done. They discover that there were some discrepancies. So in 1953, surprise, surprise, it was listed that there were multiple cuts and abrasions all over Frank's body. However, in 1994, no cuts were found. Now, you can argue that 40 years of decay can really alter results. I get that. However, in the 1953 report, those two things, cuts and abrasions on the body, were the only thing listed. They had a fresh body here, right? Mm-hmm. They have a fresh body that very likely went fucking head first. Well, not head first, he survived. But ankles first through the top of his skull.
Yeah, squelched right onto the concrete.
Like, he's dead, fresh body, clean it up. You can see everything that's there.
Yeah.
In 1994,
There's un-accordion him.
Yeah, in 1994, you have a degraded body, but they're seeing a large hematoma on the left side of Frank's head. There's a large injury on his chest, and the autopsy concluded that there was blunt force trauma to the head, and that the chest injury happened before he even fell.
Ooh.
So, forensics said that it was starkly suggestive of homicide. And Eric and his brother have been in and out of depositions and trials with the government. They're just filing suits left and right, seeking compensation, any kind of investigation for information to be released.
Yeah, they're trying to get justice.
Yeah. The only problem is so much of it is being denied because the family settled in 1975.
Yeah, and where's the documents? You know, they are ash.
They're gone.
They are
Yeah.
gone. There's no
Now,
fucking supporting documents.
an interesting take on this. I know that you can all have your opinions. Maybe it did get to Frank. I get that. But Eric pointed out in an interview that a method used by the CIA, and it's written in the first manual of assassination, and it states the most efficient accident in simple assassination is a fall of 75 feet or more onto a hard surface.
Mm-hmm. And
It's fucking uncanny.
you can even go beyond that and go to the program that came after MK Ultra, which was Project MK Naomi, which we barely looked at.
Yeah.
Like, as we're doing research, we're like, oh my God, did you know about this? Oh my God, did you know about that? Like,
Dude.
we're just finding so much more and more and more about this.
I came over here 7 hours ago,
Oh, fuck.
and
It is.
I had read basically what I thought was everything. And as we were going, I was like, dude, I'm adding more. I'm
Yeah.
adding more. I'm adding more. It's
Yeah.
a lot.
It's a big
And
story.
you guys better be fucking grateful because we finally covered MK Ultra, you pieces of shit, or at least a drop in the bucket of MK
Yeah,
Ultra.
part of it. A very small part
You
of it.
Bastards. You got what you wanted. Are you fucking happy now?
I like that nobody has
Nobody's
asked us
requested it
to
now.
do
God,
it.
no.
But the MK Naomi was literally about getting the best ways to kill somebody,
Yeah.
creating a heart attack gun, creating a microwave gun,
dude.
creating dart guns with different poisons, and doing so much about that. So, if you have this program in the 50s to create these, what the Black Widow is based on in Marvel,
Yeah.
which is so corny, but like that they were actively trying to recruit females to honeypot foreign diplomats. And then now you're like developing more and more advanced weaponry. Yeah, pushing somebody off of a hotel is
After
a no-brainer.
fucking hitting him in the back of the head.
Yeah,
a couple of
you
times,
zonk him.
shooting him in the chest.
No, you just like fucking zonk him. He's gonna be disoriented. You just push him out the window.
Yeah, Jesus. It's
It's tough. Yeah.
it's fucking crazy, but yeah, we did it
There
finally.
goes 7 hours of
It
my
took-
life
it
down the
took-
drain.
Five seasons for us to do it. We finally did. It's
I'm
out of the way.
I'm behind on my homework now.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. It's
Yeah,
on you.
whatever.
You got to make tuna casserole.
I'm not making tuna casserole.
You got
You.
the Patreon. You got the patrons pulled up.
It's so late. You can't leave until I post this episode. All right.
I mean, at this point, I should just fucking stay here. We'll just record the next 9 episodes.
Sleep on the couch.
Fuck.
All right, so thank you guys on the Patreon. It's patreon.com/points-o-pressure. Abby, AJ's third nut, Lindo, D's nuts.
Hey.
Hey.
Oh shit! It's not me. I swear.
NSA isn't real. Nordic Thunder, Toddle Waddle, Dark Runner, Haley and Casey McFacey.
Thank you guys.
So much.
Keep the lights on in the place.
We'll be back next week.
Yeah. Find us on Instagram, at Twitter.
At Twitter.
Fuck. It's late. Find us on Instagram and Twitter at points-o-pressure. Feedback, music suggestions, fucking memes. I don't give a shit. If you need somebody to talk to, by all means, reach out. We truly, truly appreciate all the feedback that you guys give. And, yeah, keep that shit coming, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Yeah, see you then.